Hello everybody, this episode is specifically on windows and layouts inside of Premiere Pro. First of all, we're going to go over how each one of these windows functions, and let's quickly go over these four areas right here. If you're in our basic editing mode, if you look up here at the top, we're in our editing layout. We'll go over layouts here in a second, but we basically have our project area, our source area, our timeline area, or our sequence, they call it timeline or sequence, and our program area up here. And those are the basic four layouts for working in Premiere. These will change as you change your layouts up here. You have basic layouts up here. Some of these are you will not find on your layouts because these are ones that I have added. But as you click up on it, first of all, if you don't see these from an older project, you can go to Window, Workspaces, and if you check marked under one of these layouts that you also see up here, or maybe you don't see these up here because you're updating an older project, as long as you have one of these selected, you can go down to Reset to Saved Layout, and it will reset it to the original layout that is default by Premiere Pro. Then these should appear after that. Once these appear, you can click on these and it will quickly rearrange your windows for these specific layouts. This is the default arrangement for the assembly mode here. And we will go over this in a future episode, but I just want to show that as you click on each one of these, it has a different layout for each section. Now one thing to notice, like right here, I've kind of messed up this layout here by rearranging windows. I have different windows up, and if you want to get it back to if you've grabbed specific windows and rearranged them on that specific layout, like let's grab our scene folder here and drag it, plop it there, and grab this and plop it there, and we've messed things up, and you hit that layout here, color now, and it shows up this weird layout here. You can go up to this little three layer, whatever this is here, this little drop down menu, and you say be careful not to save as a new workspace or save changes to that. You want to just hit reset to saved layout, and it will reset it to the default layout that Premiere has arranged for that specific layout name. I recommend don't overwrite these original. I would never click on this and save changes to that workspace. If you would rather save a layout, you can just go up to your little drop-down menu and save as a new workspace. It'll ask you what you want to name it as. See, I've got a few up here that I've named, like dual screen laptop for my laptop and one for my basement editing system and a whole bunch of different things in here. But kind of the thing you'll probably want to select here is reset to saved layout, and it will reset it to the original Premiere layout. If you click on effects, ranges for the effects layout, and this kind of optimizes, especially in a single screen workspace. It will arrange your windows in a way that will be very efficient for whatever you're working in here. If you're assembling, first doing some basic editing, color correction, adding effects, audio mixing, titles, and so on. Right now I'm going to go to my standard editing mode here, and you can click on this and just say, let's say reset to save layout, just make sure everything is the way it was meant to be in the default mode there. One thing I really like with Adobe products, especially After Effects and Premiere, is the use of the Tilde Key. And the Tilde Key is this key right here. It's a little squiggly thing at the top left-hand corner of your key, right below the Escape key. It's very, very useful in Premiere and in After Effects. As you move your mouse around here from window to window, over your project window, your source window, your timeline or sequence window, and your program window, and you hit tilde, watch my mouse is now over this window right here, over my program window. I didn't click on it or select it or anything. I just hit the tilde key, and it brings that window full screen. So now you can kind of operate in that window full screen. If you move over, so if you need to see something a little closer, like your sequence here, move over your sequence, hit tilde, and it brings the screen full screen. If you need to look at your media here under the project window, you hit tilde, it brings it full screen, and so on. And under the source window, there you go. Any window that you use your tilde key over is going to bring it full screen. And the way you bring it back is just hit tilde again. So tilde, tilde, and it goes full screen and back to normal. Tilde, tilde. There you go. Very useful key. Use it a ton. Very, very helpful. So once again, our windows are going to be the project window, the source window, the timeline or sequence window, and the program window up here. A quick shortcut here, we're going to be getting into shortcuts, is the shift, holding down shift key and hitting your numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 on the top of your keyboard. Not the numpad, but on the top of the keyboard. Hold down shift and hit 1, watch what happens right here. Right now you'll notice that I've got this blue outline around the program window. That means that window is selected and it's ready for me. If any shortcuts or functions that I hit on my keyboard are going to operate mainly, primarily out of this window up here. But now as I hit Shift 1, notice it selects this window down here, my project window, that contains all the media. Hit Shift 2, it goes to the source window. Shift 3 goes to the timeline window. Shift 4 goes to the program window. Very important when you're using shortcuts and trying to get around your program quickly. Shift 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice it selects all those different windows, and then your shortcuts mainly pertain to that window that is selected at the time. If you continue on the keyboard, hit Shift 5. It selects the effect controls. These are probably less frequently used, but it's very important as well. Shift 5, Shift 6 hits the audio track mixer. Shift 7 hit your effects tab down inside of near your project window, which you can choose effects. Shift 8, hit your media browser. Shift 9, hit your audio mixer. So Shift 1 through 9 will select different windows, just kind of a quick way to shift between them. One different function with the tilde key is if on a PC you're holding down Control and on a Mac you're hitting Command, is to hit the tilde key. Right now I'm holding down Control on my PC and I'm hitting tilde, and watch what happens. When I hit it, boom, it takes your movie full screen. If you want to play back things full screen, I'm going to hit my space bar here to play, and it plays my movie back full screen. If you hit Control tilde again, it takes it back to normal. So Control tilde goes full screen, but it does specifically full screen for the program monitor and takes it full screen, so you look at it as if you're looking at a movie here. So I'm going to hit Control tilde, get out of that. Once again on a Mac it's Command tilde. Okay, when you're in different layouts here, I'm going to hit Shift 1, go to my project window here, go Shift 2, bring up my source window. So one thing you can kind of do with your window layouts here is you can rearrange things. If I grab my project window here and I grab it and I drag it around here, notice I grab this tab right here and I grab it, you can actually rearrange things. Look at this little kind of weird shape that we got here. What this does, if you grab this and start dragging, and you put it in the center here, this actually restores it to all the tabs right here. So if you have something different and weird, that helps restore. But watch this. I'm going to grab it and drag it to this little upper section and watch what happens. That splits the windows and puts my project window on top. Once again, if I grab that, drag it down here, and put it in the center, it restores it and adds it to the rest of the tabs here. But you can grab tabs and you can rearrange them. If I put it on the left here, it puts it on the left and splits those screens there. If I grab it and drag it to the right, it puts it to the right. You can grab these little sections in between and drag them to expand a window and make it larger, or to make it, of course, smaller. And down in my timeline area, you can grab these things and you can just simply drag them to the left and rearrange your sequences. If you have different sequences, you can rearrange them in different orders, quite simply by just grabbing and dragging. But once again, if you grab a window here and you drag it and you put it to the right, it'll split the window, or to the left, it'll split the window. There we go, to the left, and it's just a way of rearranging your windows. This is really helpful when you're working on multiple monitors. If you have a dual monitor layout or a triple monitor layout, you can grab these and drag these over to different windows and expand them. Once you drag them and disconnect them, pretend this is a different monitor over here. I'm going to grab this and drag it outside and drag it over to my different monitor. I can size this to fit my other monitor. And this is really helpful when you're editing and you want to see like a full window on one screen with your clips. Let's get this back to normal here. I'm going to go to my editing window. I'm going to say reset to saved layout. It'll reset it back to the normal layout here. But say I can bring my project window and drag it over to a different monitor. And then once it's on that different monitor, I can go down to the bottom corner here and expand it and make it fit that monitor. And now I have one full monitor. Like I said, pretend this is a different monitor here. I can have one full monitor with all my individual clips on it, and I can just browse through my clips quite easily. And then I can have one window dedicated to my timeline, and a couple other windows. So you can arrange this the way you want it. Once you get these the way you like it, you go up to Window, Workspaces, and you save it as a new workspace. And then you can name it and hit OK, and it will add it to these spaces up here. You're also able to go up to File. You can go under your name here and you can tell it to sync these settings now. And you can sync your settings to the Creative Cloud server. And then when you move to a different computer, you can download those settings and you'll have these layouts restored to that computer that you're working on. Let me reset this really quick. And kind of last, let's talk about these windows and what they're used for. I'm going to go through just these basic windows here. We've got Some of these we will cover in detail in later episodes. But right now we've got right here our project window. Our project window is a place that organizes and contains all the media that you're going to be using in your project. And it has different information pertaining to every clip that you bring in here and every audio file that you bring in here, things like frame rate, duration of the video, the format, the resolution. It has all this information over here in the metadata tabs over here. And you can rearrange these things. You can tell it to show it in different orders by grabbing and dragging. And you can put these in different orders. You can also right-click here and go to metadata display and add certain functions, certain metadata up here as well. One thing that's really helpful here that we'll show in a future episode is arrowing down, going down to the bottom of Premiere Pro project metadata and check marking proxy. If you're doing a proxy workflow, you can tell it to show your proxy files here, and actually it put it at the very end here. Anytime you add something, it puts it at the very end. I can grab this, drag it over so you can see it. There's our proxy tab, and it shows if you have done proxies on the files that you're working with, and if they are connected or not. So we'll go through that in a future episode. But this is our project window. Media browser is used to import footage. We'll go through that actually in the next upcoming episode. Libraries, this is stuff that's on the Creative Cloud. If you purchase things or add things to the libraries on the Creative Cloud, you'll have access to them here. Information for specific clips, information for specific media and sequences. Effects is where you're going to find all your effects to add to your video clips and audio. Markers, if you need to add notes to a clip. And like I said, a lot of these we will be going through in specific episodes. And history. History is your undo and redo list here. As you do different functions, every time you perform a different function, it adds a history note here. Watch this. I'm gonna do a cut really quick. Control-Shift-K. I cut and notice it added my edit. It added that move there. If I do Control-Z, it goes back one. If I want to redo it, I can just actually click on this. If I want to undo it, I can go back here or keep undoing as I go backwards or redoing as I go forward. It maintains this history as long as you got the project open. And once you close Premiere completely, it erases this history, and when you open it up again, it starts a new list. Move up here, Source Monitor. This is where you're going to do basic edits, your in points and out points that will drop them down into your timeline. Your timeline or your sequence is a representation of all your edits visually from beginning to end. And as you move your playhead down here and play through them, you're going to see your program monitor up here updating according to your edits that you've performed down in your timeline. So those are the four basic windows. We've got our project area. And by the way, if your project area has disappeared, keep in mind these little double arrows. If there's so many windows crammed in here, you can either expand this window to see other windows that are kind of not showing, or you can click on this little double arrow and it will say, what window do you want to see? I want to see my project window. It restores it. There it is. I'm going to move my little toolbar back. But that's what those little double arrows are for. If you see those, there are so many things added in there, especially like in your project area or in your sequence area. You can just hit that arrow and tell it to show that window. And once again, if you want to select those windows, Shift 1, 2, 3, 4. So those are the basic layouts here. Those are the basic windows that you're going to be working with. In the next episode, we will start showing you how to use the media browser and also how to import footage and audio and other media that you're going to be using inside your project.